your car?
Sure.
Gee, it's a honey.
Do you know that Marilyn Monroe and Cary Grant, despite their fame, weren't the wealthiest actors of their time? In fact, some Golden Age stars were so incredibly rich, they could have easily bought out entire studios.
Would you be good enough to park the car for me, please?
Sure I will.
Thank you.
Many actors were tied to studios with rigid contracts that limited their earnings. But some, as we will see, found ways to escape their control, ensuring their financial independence, which allowed them to dictate their own rules. Here is a list of the 10 richest actors of Hollywood's golden age, and the last one will definitely surprise you. Bing Crosby, $200 million today. Bing Crosby, real name Harry Lillis Crosby Jr., was an American singer and pioneering actor whose career spanned over 5 decades. At the time of his death on October 14, 1977, his fortune was estimated at approximately $50 million, which, adjusted for inflation, would be over $200 million today. Crosby was a dominant figure in the entertainment industry, with over 70 feature films and more than 1,600 recorded songs. His performance of White Christmas remains one of the best-selling singles of all time. Crosby was one of Hollywood's smartest businessmen. His investments were extremely diversified. He owned real assets, real estate, mines, oil wells, cattle ranches, and racehorses. He also invested in the media business, pioneering on television and radio. His Christmas specials became an annual tradition, generating a steady income. Crosby also owned stakes in baseball teams. Crosby's will stipulated that his 7 children would inherit his fortune, but the funds were placed in a blind trust until they reached the age of 65. This decision was controversial but reflected his desire to ensure long-term security for his family. Gloria Vanderbilt, $223 million today. Gloria Vanderbilt, a renowned fashion designer, artist, writer, and socialite, was one of the wealthiest figures of her time. Known for both her artistic talents and her famous family background, Vanderbilt's fortune at the time of her death in 2019 was estimated at $200 million, which is equivalent to approximately $223 million today, adjusted for inflation. Born into the prominent Vanderbilt family, Gloria was the great-great-granddaughter of railroad magnate Cornelius Vanderbilt, one of the wealthiest Americans in history. Although her family's fortune had significantly diminished by her time, she inherited about $5 million in a trust fund as a child, which is equivalent to $100 million today. This trust fund became the subject of a famous lawsuit, known as the Trial of the Century, which she won, gaining control of her wealth. In the 1970s, Vanderbilt revolutionized the fashion industry with her designer jeans, which featured her name and a signature swan logo. This innovation transformed her into a global brand, and her denim line alone brought in millions of dollars in revenue. In addition to jeans, she expanded into home goods, perfumes, and accessories, solidifying her status as a savvy businesswoman. Vanderbilt was a talented artist and writer, earning additional income through exhibitions, books, and memoirs. Her creative works enhanced her public image and diversified her income streams. Despite her inherited wealth, Gloria Vanderbilt's fortune was largely self-made, thanks to her entrepreneurial ventures and creative endeavors. Bob Hope, $235 million today. Bob Hope, the legendary comedian, actor, and philanthropist, was one of the wealthiest entertainers of his time. His extraordinary fortune was estimated at $150 million at the time of his death in 2003, which is equivalent to approximately $235.5 million today. Hope's career spanned nearly 80 years, during which he appeared in over 70 films, countless television specials, and radio shows. His work in The Road to series with Bing Crosby and Dorothy Lamour was particularly lucrative and made him a household name. Hope was one of the smartest real estate investors in Hollywood. He invested in large plots of land in California's San Fernando Valley and Palm Springs long before they became prime real estate markets. Instead of spending money on luxury cars and villas, he bought land that significantly appreciated in value over time. His Palm Springs estate became an icon, symbolizing his success in both Hollywood and investments. Despite his wealth, Hope was famously frugal, ensuring his finances were managed effectively throughout his life. Randolph Scott, $260 million today. Randolph Scott, known as one of Hollywood's most beloved Western stars, was extraordinarily wealthy thanks to his lucrative acting career, smart financial decisions, and significant investments outside the entertainment industry. At the time of his death in 1987, Scott's fortune was estimated at $100 million, which would be approximately $260 million today, adjusted for inflation. Throughout his career, Scott appeared in more than 100 films, many of which were box office hits. Scott was strategic about his contracts, often working as an independent actor. This allowed him to negotiate better deals and keep a larger share of his film's profits. Scott was a shrewd investor, especially in real estate. He owned several properties in Southern California, including a luxurious estate in Beverly Hills. His portfolio grew in value as Los Angeles became one of the most sought-after real estate markets in the country. Scott also had a reputation as a savvy stock market investor. He started investing early in his career, building a diverse and high-performing portfolio that generated significant returns over time. Scott was famously known for his close friendship and living with Cary Grant in the 1930s and 1940s, during which they made strategic financial decisions together, including joint investments. Fred MacMurray, $322 million today. Fred MacMurray, a versatile actor best known for his roles in films like Double Indemnity and the family sitcom My Three Sons, was one of the richest stars of his era. At the time of his death in 1991, his fortune was estimated at $150 million, which is equivalent to approximately $322.5 million today, adjusted for inflation. MacMurray starred in over 100 films over 4 decades, establishing himself as a reliable box office star. His roles ranged from crime dramas to lighthearted comedies and Disney family films. He was one of the highest-paid actors in Hollywood during the 1940s and 1950s, earning significant sums for films like The Caine Mutiny and The Absent-Minded Professor. In the 1960s, MacMurray became a household name as the father in the series My Three Sons, one of the longest-running sitcoms of its time. His deal for the show included lucrative residuals that continued to provide income long after the series ended. This was an extremely forward-thinking clause that ensured his financial security for years. MacMurray was a shrewd investor, especially in real estate. He owned a sprawling 1,750-acre ranch in Sonoma County, California, where he lived and ran a successful cattle breeding business. This property was very valuable and a significant part of his fortune. Charlie Chaplin, for $100 million today. Charlie Chaplin, one of the most prominent figures in film history, was not only a creative genius, but also one of the wealthiest artists of his time. His fortune came from a combination of monumental success in acting, directing, and producing, as well as his business acumen. At the time of his death in 1977, Charlie Chaplin's fortune was estimated at $100 million, which is equivalent to over $400 million today, adjusted for inflation. Chaplin became one of the first actors to earn astronomical salaries, signing a contract with Mutual Film Corporation in 1916 for $670,000 annually, a record amount at the time. But the real source of his wealth was control. He was one of the co-founders of United Artists, which gave him complete creative and financial freedom. By owning the rights to his films, he received a significant portion of the profits, not just a salary. This meant that his films, including The Kid, City Lights, and Modern Times, continued to bring him income for decades. He was not just a star, but also a producer, which allowed him to control his destiny and finances. Gene Autry, $580 million today. Gene Autry, known as the Singing Cowboy, was one of the wealthiest and most successful entertainers of his time. With a career spanning music, film, television, and business, Autry's financial empire was unprecedented in old Hollywood and extended far beyond the entertainment industry. At the time of his death in 1998, Gene Autry's fortune was estimated at $320 million, which is approximately $580 million today, adjusted for inflation. Autry was a master of diversification. He was successful in every medium he worked in. He recorded over 600 songs, including hits like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Back in the Saddle Again, which generated significant royalties. But he didn't stop there. He became a media mogul, owning several radio and television stations, including KTLA in Los Angeles. He also owned the baseball team Los Angeles Angels from its founding in 1961 until his death. His name and image were used to sell toys, records, guitars, and more, creating a lasting stream of merchandising income. Gene Autry was not just an artist. He was a pioneering businessman who turned his fame into a real empire. Elizabeth Taylor, $800 million today. Elizabeth Taylor was not just a famous actress. She was a cultural icon whose wealth extended far beyond her Hollywood earnings. Known for her luxurious lifestyle and love of diamonds, Taylor's fortune was the result of her acting career, business ventures, and her legendary jewelry collection. At the time of her death in 2011, her fortune was estimated at $600 million, which is equivalent to approximately $800 million today, adjusted for inflation. Taylor was one of the first to understand the power of a personal brand. She became the first star to earn $1 million for her role in the film Cleopatra, an incredible sum at the time. But her biggest financial success was her perfume line. In the 1980s, she launched the iconic fragrance, White Diamonds. The brand became a global phenomenon, bringing in over $1 billion in sales during her lifetime. Even today, her perfumes remain among the best-selling celebrity fragrances, significantly contributing to her wealth. Her jewelry collection, sold at a Christie's auction after her death in 2011, brought in $116.8 million, a record for a private jewelry sale. This underscored her status as a connoisseur of luxury and an entrepreneur. Mary Pickford, $800 million today. Mary Pickford, affectionately known as America's Sweetheart, was one of the most prominent stars of Hollywood's silent era. Her influence went far beyond acting. She became one of the wealthiest and most influential figures in film history. Her fortune, which at the peak of her career was estimated at $40 million, which is equivalent to over $800 million today, was the result of a unique combination of her acting talent, business intuition, and her pioneering role in shaping the modern film industry. Pickford was one of the first actors to become a millionaire in Hollywood, a feat almost unheard of in the early 20th century. Born Gladys Louise Smith in Toronto, Canada, Mary began her journey in show business at the age of 7 to support her family after her father's death. She traveled with a theater troupe, where her talent was quickly noticed by D.W. Griffith, a legend of early cinema. It was he who invited her to his Biograph Company studio. After her debut in 1909, she quickly became known for her ability to convey a wide range of emotions through the screen without saying a single word. Her image of an innocent but determined girl with curly hair won the hearts of millions, turning her into the first true star in the modern sense of the word. Mary Pickford not only perfectly mastered the art of acting, but also showed exceptional business acumen. She was one of the first actors to realize her own commercial value and began negotiating contracts that gave her unprecedented power and control. In 1916, she signed a contract with Paramount Pictures that gave her not only a huge salary, but also her own production company. Thanks to these innovative deals, she became Hollywood's top earner, making significantly more than any other actor or director at the time. In 1919, Pickford made one of the most important moves in her career and in the history of the film industry, co-founding United Artists with Charlie Chaplin, Douglas Fairbanks, and D.W. Griffith. It was a revolutionary venture. Instead of working under the control of large studios, they created their own distribution company, which allowed them to gain complete creative and financial freedom. United Artists gave them the ability to own the rights to their films, which meant they received a significant portion of the profits, not just a fixed salary. This greatly increased her wealth and made her one of the most influential producers of her time. When the era of sound cinema arrived, Pickford's career as an actress began to fade. Her curly-haired girl image no longer fit the new trends, and after several attempts to adapt, she decided to end her acting career in 1933. However, she continued to work as a producer and businesswoman. Her legacy is not only in her films, but also in how she changed Hollywood's business model, showing actors that they could be not just performers, but also owners of their art and financially independent. Mary Pickford remained one of the most influential figures in the film industry, and her contribution to the creation of the modern star system, production, and actor rights cannot be overstated. Dina Merrill, $5.6 billion today. Dina Merrill, real name Nadinia Marjorie Hutton, was born on December 29, 1923, in New York, and was a unique phenomenon in her generation. She was an American actress, heiress, and one of the most famous socialites of her time. Her life became a vivid example of the intersection of Hollywood glamour, high society elegance, and incredible inherited wealth. Nadinia was the daughter of two prominent figures in American business: Wall Street financier Edward Francis Hutton, founder of the influential brokerage firm E.F. Hutton & Company, and Post serials heiress Marjorie Merriweather Post. This connection to two of America's wealthiest families laid the foundation for her incredible fortune. Her mother, Marjorie Merriweather Post, was one of the richest women in America. She inherited a fortune of $250 million in 1914 when she was only 27 years old, which is equivalent to approximately $5 billion in today's money. Marjorie not only inherited but also successfully managed and expanded the business, becoming the owner of General Foods Corporation, which included popular brands like Postum and Bird's Eye Frozen Foods. She was known not only for her business, but also for her extravagant lifestyle, grand estates, including Mar-a-Lago in Florida, and generous philanthropy. Despite her immense wealth and status in society, Dina Merrill decided to build her own career. She refused the opportunity to simply enjoy a life of luxury and enrolled in the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. In the early 1940s, she began performing actively in theater, and then in film and on television. Her real name was Nadinia Marjorie Hutton, but for the stage, she chose the pseudonym Dina Merrill, taking her maternal grandfather's surname. Over her career, Merrill played more than 100 roles in film and television, often portraying elegant, refined, and self-sufficient women. Her filmography includes such famous films as Operation Petticoat, 1959, with Cary Grant and Tony Curtis, Butterfield 8, 1960, with Elizabeth Taylor, and The American Wedding, 1964. She was one of the most sought-after actresses of her time, and her natural acting and impeccable style made her a favorite with the public. Although Merrill built a successful acting career, her significant fortune, which was reportedly $5 billion at the time of her death on May 22, 2017, was largely attributed to her inheritance rather than her earnings in the entertainment industry. She skillfully managed her financial legacy, investing in various fields and supporting businesses. But Dina Merrill was not just an actress and heiress. She was also a passionate philanthropist. Together with her husband Clifford Robertson, she established a foundation that supported the arts, education, and medical research. She was a member of the board of directors of her mother's company, General Foods, which attests to her active involvement in the family business. Dina Merrill was known not only for her roles, but also for her elegance and grace. She was a true style icon, combining classic American sophistication with Hollywood glamour. Her life and career remain a symbol of an era when wealth and fame could coexist, illustrating that even people with incredible inheritances can find their own path and leave a noticeable mark on culture and society.